Over the next few minutes, you're going to learn about how to conduct peer observations. But first, let's consider why peer observations can help teachers like us develop. Teaching's unusual and it's usually a closed-doors profession. Observing lets us open up those closed doors and break down professional barriers. Peer observations are highly learner-centered. Both the observer and the observee have control over the learning process. Peer observations help raise our awareness of our teaching and that of others. Teaching is multitasking. As we teach, we're often blind to a lot of what we do, both good and bad, in the classroom. Observing and being observed can change this. It's also important to remember what peer observations are not. They're not about experienced teachers observing novices and giving feedback and tips. They're not about being observed by a manager, being evaluated or supervised, and they're not about ticking boxes to tell us if you're a good or a bad teacher. So, how should we go about the process of peer observation? First, decide on the contract. This is the purpose of the observation. It could be for you to learn more about how you or another teacher gives feedback to their students, or to record the questions that you ask when you're eliciting. Next comes the duration. That's the observation itself. The observer might take notes related to what was discussed in the contract, or use an observation tool or an observation instrument, for example those at the back of Learning Teaching by Jim Scrivener, which you would have received in your welcome pack when you first arrived. Finally comes the resolution. This could range from a 5-minute chat after the class, to the observer giving the observee a copy of any observation notes, to an in-depth discussion. Remember, peer observation shouldn't involve evaluation or lists of what the observer teacher needs to improve on. Now, watch these two teachers and note how they complete these 3 stages. That's the contract, duration, and the resolution. Think about what these teachers learned during this process.
What I'd like you to look out for when we talk about it after, see how they react to moving around the classroom. We've got a couple of things where they have to stand up on the ground. So I think it's just look out for their reactions and stuff. Okay. And then what might you talk to people about at a party? But there, for some reason, I wasn't able to develop that quick rapport with them.
Well, what I would try to do is okay, hi guys, I'm Peter. You guys also introduce yourselves to the partner next to you, right?
Okay.
Just so they have another ally now in that class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was the moving around. You thought that?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, I think the bits of the class that didn't go well were just when I was trying to elicit stuff from people. They were really, really quiet.
Yeah.
So I wonder if with lower level people, not necessarily lower levels, but students that have got less experience of being in that atmosphere are going to be less comfortable with not just being in a large group, but being in a large group in that style where the teacher's trying to get stuff out of people.
I think that also probably plays a role in it as well.
Now that you've learned, it's your turn to try. Speak to a colleague who you would like to observe or be observed by. Decide on the purpose of the observation. You might want to use an observation tool from Learning Teaching by Jim Scrivener from your welcome pack. Observe the class and try to interfere as little as possible during the lesson. Finally, conduct a resolution. Have a chat after class, or an in-depth conversation, or even pass on any useful observation notes that were taken during the lesson. We look forward to seeing you at the try and apply sections of this training.